All right, we're going to go over your practice test. For number 1, it says describe the solutions. Remember, when you see that, you first need to solve, and then every single time it starts with all real numbers. So 2 minus 5 is a negative 3, but be careful. Notice it's inside parentheses. So your negative 3 must be inside parentheses. Negative 3 quantity squared is less than or equal to t. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9 is less than or equal to t, which means that t is greater than or equal to 9. You must have it in parentheses, otherwise it would be a negative 9. So then the answer to the question is all real numbers greater than or equal to 9. All right, for number 2, go ahead and put a scale on. It's negative 4 and a half, so I'm going to go negative 5, skip a line, negative 4, skip a line, negative 3. Negative 4 and a half would be right here. It's a closed dot because it's less than or equal to, and it's going to the left. Number 3, you first have to simplify. This is the same thing as negative 1 times the square root of 36. So it's w is greater than negative 1 times 6, so w is greater than negative 6. So make sure that your number line is correct. Negative 7, negative 6, negative 5, an open dot on negative 6 going to the right. Write an inequality for number 4. So you know that 2 and a half is your start point. So x, 2 and 1/2, and then a number over here like 0. How does 0 relate to 2 and 1/2? Oh, well, 0 is less than. It's a closed dot, so it's less than or equal to. So your answer is x is less than or equal to 2 and 1/2. It is not safe to walk on ice if it is less than 4 inches thick. Define a variable and write an inequality for the thickness of ice where it is safe to walk. So when you define your variable, you have to be very careful and do what the question asks. This variable is going to be the thickness on which it is safe to walk. So the thickness it is safe to walk. If you make it anything else, it is not correct. You must make it the thickness for it to be safe to walk. So if it's not safe to walk less than 4 inches, so less than 4 inches is not safe, the exact opposite would be greater than or equal to 4. So your answer is x is greater than or equal to 4 inches. And that's really important because you have to know that it's in inches, it's not centimeters, it's not feet. It's x is greater than or equal to 4 inches. You will miss half a point if you don't have that. Number 6, solve each inequality and graph the solution. So for number 6, you just have to subtract 21. And it's okay to get an answer of x is less than or equal to 0. Put it on your line. And then I did negative 1, skip a line, 0, skip a line, 1. It's a closed dot on 0, and everything less than 0 is to the left. Number 7. Number 7, you need to add 4 to both sides. It's negative 4, so you have to add 4. 1 2/3 plus 4 is 5 2/3 is less than y. So that means that y then is greater than 5 2/3. So maybe you're asking yourself, what kind of scale should I go by? Let's go by thirds. Let's start at 5, 5 1/3, 5 2/3. 5 3/3 is the same thing as 6. It's going to be an open dot because it's just greater than. 6 is greater than 5 2/3, so there you go. For this one, you first have to do your absolute value. And remember, absolute value always comes out to be positive. So the absolute value of negative 3.5, you get f plus 4.5 is greater than or equal to positive 3.5. Subtract 4.5 from both sides, and you get f is greater than or equal to negative 1. So that's your solution, and now it's just time to graph. So we have negative 2, negative 1, 0, a closed dot on negative 1. Everything greater is to the right. Number 9, during track season, Larry tries to drink at least opposite of what you think. It's greater than or equal to 8 cups. So he needs to drink greater than or equal to 8 cups of water each day. So far, he drank a 24-ounce bottle of water. So far he's drank 24 ounces. Careful, this is ounces, that's in cups. Write and solve an inequality to determine how many more ounces of water he must drink to fulfill his daily goal. Hint, 1 cup equals 8 ounces. So if I know that he has 8 cups and 1 cup is 8 ounces, well, 8 times 8 is going to be 64 ounces. So the first thing you should do is define your variable. What are we looking for? X, in this case, it says write and solve an inequality to determine how many more ounces of water Larry must drink. So your variable is how many ounces of water Larry must still drink. And again, you know that what he drinks has to be greater than or equal to 64 ounces. He's already drank 24 ounces, plus what he has more to drink, and it has to be greater than or equal to 64. You must put this into ounces. You have to, and you get that by 8 times 8 equals 64 ounces. So then I subtracted 24 from both sides to get X is greater than or equal to 40 ounces. So your inequality would be X plus 24 is greater than or equal to 64, and X is greater than or equal to 40 ounces. This is the only inequality that's acceptable. You have to show an inverse operation whenever it says write an inequality. Number 10, we're solving. We don't have to graph these. So I'm going to divide by negative 40. Remember, when you divide by a negative, you flip the sign, so now you get negative or 20 over negative 40. Be careful, look at the scratch work. 20 over negative 40 is a fraction. They're both divisible by 20, so you get negative 1/2. So negative 1/2 is less than, because you flipped, X. If negative 1/2 is less than X, that means that X is greater than negative 1/2. Number 11, when you have a fraction times what you're looking for, multiply by the reciprocal times 9 over 7. Your 9's cancel, your 7's cancel. D is greater than or equal to, it stays greater than or equal to because 9/7 was positive. And then do some cross simplification. 35 divided by 7 is 5. Negative 5 times 9 is negative 45. So D is greater than or equal to negative 45. Number 12, over the summer, Steve earned $380 by mowing lawns and $80 by tutoring. He wants to take an adventure vacation that costs $45 per night. What are the possible number of nights Steven can sign up for if he spends only the money he earned over the summer? So first, let's think about what we're looking for. It says, what are the number of nights Steve can spend. As soon as I defined my variable, I thought to myself, if he's staying a specific number of nights, you can have no fractions or decimals. You know that your answer has to be a list because you cannot have that. As soon as you defined your variable, you should have thought about that. Then we know we're talking about money. So I'm always thinking about what you spend has to be less than or equal to what you earn. What you spend has to be less than or equal to what you earn. So let's read through this again. Steve earned $380 by mowing lawns and $80 by tutoring. So the total amount that he earned was $380 plus $80. 380 plus 80 is 460. So I know that it's less than or equal to 460. He's spending $45 per night. So it'd be 45 times X, or the number of nights. Divide both by 45, and you get X is less than or equal to 10.22. It has to be less than 10 9th.